Imagine a world where two NFL franchises solve their biggest, most toxic headaches with a single, earth-shattering phone call. We are talking about an elite for elite swap that would completely flip the script for the upcoming season. The rumors are swirling, the tension is boiling over, and we might be looking at a trade that sends one of the most dominant wide receivers in Eagles history to Las Vegas in exchange for a defensive maniac who was basically born to wear Kelly green. We need to talk about A.J. Brown. We need to talk about Maxx Crosby. And we need to ask the question, is this the blockbuster move that saves both teams, or is it a disaster waiting to happen? Before we dive deep into the financials and the logic of this massive proposal, do me a huge favor. If you love this team and you love staying ahead of the curve, smash that like button right now, share this with a friend who needs to hear this, and make sure you are subscribed so you never miss a breaking update. Let's be real with each other for a second. As fans, there is nothing more painful than watching a superstar player, someone we embraced, someone we cheered for, someone who wore our colors, slowly turn his back on the city. Do I want the Eagles to trade away A.J. Brown? Absolutely not. On paper, he is arguably the most talented wide receiver to ever lace up cleats for this franchise. You don't just give away talent like that. You don't just wake up and decide to ship off a guy who can take over a game in a single quarter. The goal of any general manager is to hoard elite players, to stack the deck so high that a championship feels inevitable. But we have to be honest about what we watched this past season. The conversation changes the moment the relationship stops being about football and starts being about drama. If the bond between a star player and the organization is severed, if it's truly broken beyond repair, do you really have a choice? We have to ask ourselves, did we see a player who was fully invested? Or did we see a guy who was halfway out the door? The concentration drops were alarming. We saw passes hit the ground that he catches 99 times out of 100. We saw a level of disengagement that was impossible to ignore. It wasn't just about the scheme or the quarterback or the play calling, it was body language. It was energy. And in a locker room, energy is contagious. When your best player is frustrated, everyone feels it. When the head coach has to spend half his press conference answering questions about cryptic social media posts instead of game strategy, that is a distraction. When the quarterback is fielding questions about his receiver's mood rather than the game plan, that is a problem. And when the owner of the team has to step in on the practice field to play therapist, that is a full-blown crisis. At what point does the talent no longer outweigh the headache, and when does holding on to a disgruntled star actually start to hurt your chances of winning? Now, flip the coin and look at what is happening out in the desert. You have Maxx Crosby, the heart and soul of the Las Vegas Raiders, a guy who literally has the team logo tattooed on his body. He is the definition of a Raider for life, or at least he was supposed to be. But the end of this season showed us cracks in that foundation that we never thought we'd see. We saw a warrior who wanted to play through injury, a guy who wanted to be on the field with his brothers, getting shut down by the front office. We saw him storm away from the facility. We've seen the cryptic messages since then. It reminds me of that line from the Drake and Rick Ross track, "Tat my name on you so I know it's real." Max did that. He committed his skin to the franchise. But right now? It feels like he's watching his prime years wash away with a team that just can't get it right. Maxx Crosby is a competitor of the highest order. He empties the tank every single snap. But you can only lose for so long before that fire turns into frustration. He knows he's wasting his best years on a rebuilding squad, and that realization is dangerous for a front office. It creates a volatile situation where your best defensive asset becomes your loudest critic. So, we have two elite players. Both are unhappy. Both are seemingly at war with their current situations. And both franchises are at a crossroads. This brings us to the biggest debate of the offseason, and I need you to get involved right now. If you were the general manager, would you pull the trigger on a straight-up swap, A.J. Brown for Maxx Crosby? Go down to the comments section and type T for trade, or P for pass. I want to see where the fanbase stands on this because it is extremely polarizing. Let's look at this from the Raiders' perspective first. Why would they want a disgruntled receiver? Context is everything. The Raiders are sitting on the number 1 overall pick in the upcoming draft. For the first time in a long time, they control the board. All signs point to them taking a quarterback, and the name on everyone's lips is Fernando Mendoza. If you've watched him play, you know Mendoza isn't just a prospect, he's a savior for a program. He has the pocket presence, the touch, the accuracy, and the leadership traits that make you believe he can be the face of a franchise. But we know the golden rule of drafting a rookie quarterback: you have to support him. You cannot throw him to the wolves with no weapons and expect him to survive. Imagine this offense for a second. You have Fernando Mendoza under center. You have Ashton Jeanty, the absolute wrecking ball from Boise State, in the backfield. You have Brock Bowers, who is already looking like a generational talent at tight end. And then, you drop A.J. Brown into that mix. Suddenly, you aren't just rebuilding. You are building a juggernaut. You are giving your young quarterback an elite safety blanket who can win one-on-one against any corner in the league. You take the pressure off the rookie immediately. And let's not forget the coaching staff. If they can stabilize that offensive front, this Raiders offense goes from anemic to explosive overnight. A.J. Brown gets the targets he wants because he becomes the undisputed alpha in that room. He gets a fresh start with a young, hungry quarterback who will look his way on every critical down. It makes too much sense for Las Vegas. They need a superstar to sell tickets and to help develop their new franchise quarterback. Now, bring it back home to Philadelphia. Why do the Eagles do this? Because Maxx Crosby was born to play in this city. Philly is a blue-collar town. It's a place that respects hustle, grit, and players who don't take plays off. Crosby is a relentless motor. He is violence in motion. He plays the run, he sacks the quarterback, and he sets a tone of intimidation that the Eagles' defense has been missing. We know the Eagles love to invest in the defensive line. It is the philosophy of the front office. You win in the trenches. Adding Crosby to that rotation gives you a pass rush that keeps offensive coordinators awake at night. And unlike a draft pick, Crosby is a proven commodity. You aren't guessing if his skills will translate. You know exactly what you are getting: double-digit sacks, constant pressure, and a leader who demands excellence. There is risk, sure. Crosby has had some injuries. He's played a lot of snaps. A.J. is still a top-tier receiver. But if the relationship with A.J. is truly toxic, you have to move on. Getting an all-pro pass rusher in return is the absolute best-case scenario. It's better than draft picks. It's better than cap space. It's an immediate impact player who fixes a massive need. We also have to consider the culture aspect. The Eagles have always prided themselves on a strong locker room culture. When you have a player who is openly questioning the offense, or whose body language defeats the team before the game is even over, that poisons the well. Maxx Crosby brings the opposite. He brings a level of intensity that raises the standard for everyone around him. He is the kind of guy who drags his teammates into the fight. For a defense that had its ups and downs, injecting that kind of personality is priceless. Of course, we have to talk about the money. This isn't fantasy football, the salary cap is real. Both players are making north of $30 million a year. The contracts are heavy. For the Raiders, trading Crosby triggers a dead cap hit of about $5 million, that is manageable. For the Eagles, it's trickier. If they move A.J. before June 1st, they eat a massive dead cap charge that cripples their flexibility. So, logically, this trade likely has to be a post-June 1st designation. That spreads the financial hit out and makes it digestible for Philadelphia. It allows the Eagles to clear the books and welcome Crosby's contract without destroying their ability to sign other players. It's a complicated dance, but for a general manager who is known for being aggressive and creative, it is absolutely possible. And think about the timeline. The Eagles are trying to maximize their championship window right now. They don't have time to reset. They don't have time to develop a raw rookie to replace AJ's production. They need a difference maker immediately. Maxx Crosby is that difference maker on defense. He changes the math for opposing offenses. You have to double team him. You have to chip him with a running back. That opens up one-on-one opportunities for everyone else on that defensive line. It makes the entire unit better. On the flip side, the Raiders are trying to launch a new era. They are moving on from the past mistakes. They are building around a rookie quarterback. Giving that kid a weapon like A.J. Brown is the best investment you can make. It's not just about catching passes, it's about confidence. It's about knowing that if you throw the ball up, your guy is going to come down with it. That accelerates the development of a quarterback like nothing else. So, here is the bottom line. This is the rare trade that could actually work for both sides. It's a swap of problems that results in a swap of solutions. The Raiders get the weapon they need to launch a new era. The Eagles get the defensive monster they need to reclaim their identity. It's bold, it's risky, and it would break the internet. But sometimes, to win big, you have to be willing to shake the foundation. You have to be willing to say goodbye to a fan favorite to bring in a guy who can help you win the war in the trenches. I really want to know what you think about this. Is A.J. Brown's time in Philly done? Is Maxx Crosby the missing piece? Or is this just a fantasy trade that will never happen? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one of them. As always, thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you in the next one.